2023 Honda CRV and Honda HRV. How do they compare against their rivals, and which is the better crossover SUV to buy? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Help Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. Honda has completely redesigned both the CRV and the HRV for the 2023 model year, which means it's time to compare them against their rivals, or perhaps more importantly, compare them against each other to find out which is the best crossover SUV to buy. So to find out everything there is to know about the 2023 Honda CRV and the Honda HRV, make sure to stick around until the end of this video. And if you enjoy and get value out of this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I post 2 videos a week, always straight to the point, valuable car buying advice designed to help you, the consumer. What's common between the latest HRV and CRV is that even though they are obviously very different in terms of their size, the amount of space that they offer, and of course the pricing as well, they both ride on the exact same Honda global architecture, which means they not only share the exact same underpinnings, but they also share the same underpinnings with the Honda Civic as well. But don't let that commonality with the Civic fool you, because both the HRV and the CRV are the largest crossovers in their segments. For example, when compared to most of its main rivals like the Mazda CX-30, the Subaru Crosstrek, the Kia Seltos, and the Hyundai Kona, the latest generation HRV is significantly larger, which means it has a lot more interior space and cargo space. The only one that really comes close to it in size is the Toyota Corolla Cross, and even that one is smaller than the HRV. And the same is also true of the Honda CRV, which is larger than most of its rivals like the Toyota RAV4, the Nissan Rogue, and the Hyundai Tucson. But more on the space and size differences a little bit later in the video. For now, let's talk about the engines. Unlike the version of the HRV, which is sold in other markets that has a unique design and a hybrid drivetrain, the North American HRV has a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, which is borrowed from the Honda Civic. This engine produces 158 horsepower and 138 pound-feet of torque, and comes matched to a continuously variable transmission with a choice of either front wheel or all-wheel drive. Now obviously that doesn't sound like a lot of power, and realistically it isn't, but it does feel adequate out on the road, and at least it's a very smooth and quiet engine, so you really don't notice it when driving normally. The HRV is also reasonably fuel efficient too, able to achieve around 26 to 30 miles per gallon, or 8 to 9 liters per 100 kilometers. Now the CRV by comparison offers 2 different drivetrain options depending on the version that you go with. The standard engine is a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, producing 190 horsepower and 179 pound-feet of torque, the same engine that the CRV has had since 2017. Because of its smaller displacement and being turbocharged, not only does it produce more power than the engine in the HRV, but it's also designed to be more efficient as well. That being said, even though it is a more powerful and more efficient engine, the power and fuel economy are about the same as the HRV, which is impressive given the fact that the CRV is a much larger and heavier vehicle. While both do perform very similar, there are some differences, however, when it comes to their reliability. For example, the previous generation CRV with the 1.5 turbo engine had a very well documented issue with oil dilution. Thankfully, Honda did try to address this issue and did improve the engine design over the years, but it still goes to show you that sometimes a more complicated engine can lead to more issues down the road. And that's one of the major benefits that you get with the HRV, and its more simple, naturally aspirated engine. Not only does this engine not have turbocharging, but it also doesn't have direct injection or an engine start-stop system, so you're never going to have to worry about turbo issues, carbon buildup, or other reliability issues either. So even though the CRV is still considered to be a reliable SUV and a good choice for long-term ownership, the simpler engine design of the HRV makes it the safer choice for those who hold on to their car as long as possible, upwards of 10 to 15 years. Now with all that being said, the 1.5 turbo is not the only engine that's offered in the CRV. You also have the option of the CRV Hybrid, which is a totally different story. This is the same hybrid system which Honda has been using in the Accord since 2013. It uses a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine combined with 2 electric motors, one that powers the front wheels, and a second motor which is connected to the gas engine, which works as a generator. The hybrid produces around 204 horsepower and 247 pound-feet of torque, which is not only more power than you get with the gas engine, but it also makes it the most powerful CRV in Honda's history. And not only is the hybrid more powerful, but it's also a lot more efficient as well. Compared to the regular CRV, which gets around 30 miles per gallon, the CRV Hybrid is rated for close to 40 miles per gallon, or 6 liters per 100 kilometers. So you get more power, much better fuel economy in a very well proven reliable package. Not only is Honda's very clever and advanced hybrid system free of any complicated turbocharging, but it also doesn't use a transmission, which makes it a very simple design and great for long-term reliability. Now, although I haven't had a chance to drive the new CRV Hybrid quite yet, when you compare it against other similar hybrid SUVs on the market, like the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid, the Toyota Venza, and a few others, it does appear to be class-leading in many ways. And certainly, when you compare it against the entry-level 1.5 turbo engine in the CRV, in terms of its performance, efficiency, and potential reliability, it's pretty much a win-win in every single way. But even though the CRV and HRV have very different drivetrains, because they share the exact same platform, they do have a very similar driving feel out on the road. The one word that I would use to describe both the CRV and the HRV in terms of the way they drive is balance. Whether you go with the HRV or the CRV, you are going to get a very smooth and comfortable ride combined with very good handling too. Because the HRV is a little bit smaller, however, it does feel a little bit more maneuverable and easier to park, which makes it the better choice for those who have tight parking or don't have a lot of space. The similarities between them also carry over to the interiors as well. Both share a nearly identical interior design, which is also shared with the Honda Civic. This includes the very straightforward climate controls, the air vent that goes across the dashboard, as well as the digital gauge cluster and the infotainment systems too. Both the HRV and CRV come standard with a 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. If you go for the higher trims, however, you get a larger 9-inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Either way, both setups have a very well-designed infotainment system with an excellent user interface. And not only do you get a great control setup in both SUVs, but you also have a very high quality interior as well. When it comes to their build quality, the materials, the fit and finish, both the HRV and the CRV are easily near the top of their segments. But even though they do have nearly identical interiors, there are a few significant differences. For example, you do get much better storage space in the CRV, especially in the center console. And even though they are very similar in terms of the features that they offer, there are a few features that you can get on the CRV that are not offered on the HRV, like for example a Bose premium sound system, a large panoramic glass sunroof, and even lumbar support for the driver's seat, which is pretty important for some buyers. But without question, the biggest difference between the two has to do with the interior space and the cargo space. Now, as mentioned, the HRV is the largest crossover in the subcompact segment, with an enormous amount of interior space, rear seat legroom, and a good-sized cargo area too. But that being said, as spacious as the HRV is for its size, the CRV is a lot bigger. You just get a lot more interior room and rear seat legroom, and a much larger cargo area too, with around 36 cubic feet of space, as opposed to around 24 cubic feet with the HRV. The CRV is so roomy, it's easily a lot more spacious than most of its main rivals too, so if you're looking for a practical compact SUV with the maximum amount of interior space, then the CRV is the one to go for. When it comes to safety, however, both the HRV and CRV have top-notch safety ratings, and they also come with a full suite of Honda Sensing active safety technology too, which is great to see. I have to say, I am very impressed with the updates to both the HRV and the CRV. These are incredibly well-designed SUVs. With that being said though, it does come at a price. When you compare it against a lot of its competitors, the HRV does seem rather expensive. Now, at the time of this recording, the pricing for the 2023 CRV had not been released quite yet, but it should be priced around $30,000 to $40,000 US, or around $35,000 to $45,000 Canadian, which is fairly competitive with most of its rivals. So with all that being said, which one is it going to be, the HRV or the CRV, or should you even buy one when compared to any of its rivals? Well, let's start with the HRV. Even though it is a little bit expensive when compared to other subcompact crossovers, I really think it is one of the best in the class. When you look at its design, its amazing driving feel, the really high quality interior, and the amount of space that you get, it really is one of the very best in its class. I honestly believe the HRV is so good that unless you absolutely need to have the additional space, there's really not much of a reason to go for the more expensive CRV. In fact, the HRV has grown so much in size that it's actually roughly the same size as the CRV from a few generations ago. So anybody who has an older CRV and is looking to upgrade to a new model will be perfectly happy with the new HRV. Now, having said all of that, there are a few major advantages to going with the CRV. In addition to having a lot more interior space and cargo space, a few extra features, it's also offered as a hybrid, which is something that you can't get on the HRV in North America. So for anyone who wants not only the most practical package, but also wants the best performance and fuel economy too, then the CRV Hybrid is the one to have. Either way, Honda did a phenomenal job with the redesigns of both of these SUVs, putting them near the top of their segments. So let me know what you think of the 2023 Honda HRV and the Honda CRV. Which of these two would you buy, or would you buy one of the other SUVs instead? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also check out some of my other videos by clicking these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram, and if you need additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to check out carhelpcan.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.